Okay, this is the last half hour of the show, and we have planned to discuss something that is everywhere, has been everywhere this week, and it is Burzynski issue. How do you pronounce it?
Time has come in America to launch an intensive campaign to find a cure for cancer.
Our recovery plan will invest in electronic health records. It will launch a new effort to conquer a disease that has touched the life of nearly every American by seeking a cure for cancer in our time.
People will look back at this period of history and they'll laugh at it, just the way we look back at the way they used to bleed patients.
Nothing we've done in a century has substantially reduced the death rate of various cancers.
They will burn it, or cut it out, or they'll try to poison it.
Anytime human beings try lots of things, a lot of them are not going to work.
We are a total failure.
Heavy trading today in the biopharma sector.
Blockbuster cancer drug Erbitux racked up nearly $425 million in sales.
You have this entire industry that is not going to just pack up and go away. This is the business.
You know that this poison they're putting in you can cause other cancers. And what is it doing to your body?
If the guys that make it say, we don't know if it's safe, but we'll put you in prison if you don't do it, what's that all about?
That's the scary part. You go through all of that, and you never know.
People have tried to bring effective new treatments and have been shot down. People have tried to bring effective new treatments and have been shot down.
Friday, the Food and Drug Administration raided the doctor's office, seizing patients' files and other documents, raided the doctor's office, seizing patients' files and other documents, raided the doctor's office, seizing patients' files and other documents.
These guys are part of a club, and that club has nothing to do with protecting the American people.
The first director of the American Cancer Society worked hand in glove with the tobacco industry, and they were running the Cancer Society like a massive advertising campaign.
You're the American Cancer Society. Don't you want cancer to be prevented in America?
If you have an idea that's way off the map, and you say, I want to test this, they'll throw it away. If you have an idea that's way off the map, and you say, I want to test this, they'll throw it away.
Yeah, they just throw it away.
Well, it's not going to happen. It's tough, but they're not going to throw this away because I am not agreeing to anything. And see, that's what I want to bring up. Now, this is a control opposition and a health ranger and everybody. Oh, Burzynski has been tormented again. He was 10 years ago, but now, no. That's a farce. It's just another control opposition thing. They're bringing up Burzynski, how great he is. He's the hero and he's being tormented and the system is attacking him and a medical board in Texas is attacking him again. Malarkey, okay? That's just a distraction for you to believe that Burzynski is a great guy and has got something great, so you should go see Burzynski. And I have had plenty of patients...
Well, right.
What did he say?
Yeah, he said that. Well, he said that he put some stuff on your Facebook page this week about that. That basically, it's just a lot of BS because he was tormented at one time, and now he's basically working with the system. And I wanted you to talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind, because Dogboy told me some amazing stuff that he said that you have learned about some of his education.
And that's how they really don't get anywhere. Spend a fortune, they don't get anywhere, and then they come to us. Because people that go to Burzynski, their plan is they want to get away from standard care. They want to have something different. And he lures them with the idea of his antineoplaston and all of that nonsense that he supposedly have developed. And it is sensitized from the urine. Urine, please. But, it's sensitized. So, it's not the original. Well, yeah, great.
Ayurvedic urine therapy.
Yeah. I mean, but the reality is that he's really not doing just that. What he's doing is he lures you in with that. In many cases, say, no, in your case does not apply. Or they give you some of that and then they say, yeah, but it's not working in your case. It's not helping you, so you have to have chemo. They have, in the past, it was mostly him talking to the patient and said, you have to have chemo, and this is the type of chemo that go for your case, and then you can have all these other supplements and these other things that he provides. and they go home and they have all the stuff that they have to buy, and it runs about $6,000 a month, plus all the money.
Lord.
The outrageous amount of money that you spend going to see.
So how do these patients feel after they've been through all this and they followed all the alternative media and they go all the way to Houston for this wonder drug and they end up getting chemo?
And that's what I asked this latest patient I discussed the issue with, the last one I discussed the issue with, but I discussed it with her. How did he convince you? You went to him because you didn't want chemo. How did he convince you to have chemo? And I didn't get an answer on that one. I know that other people were not convinced. Some were. And years ago, I had this patient that he put on Tarceva, and they came back with him. They went one time, went home, spending all that money with Tarceva, and then they went back to him and said, all the concoction that you're giving us is really not working. You know what he said? Double the amount of Tarceva.
Oh, my God.
And what happened? This poor woman was bleeding from the eyelid. Because Tarceva destroys the tissue, it was destroying, her eyelids were bleeding. When she came to us, she looked like she had taken a lipstick and did a eyeliner on her eyes with a red lipstick. And it was bleeding. 2 days. She had more sessions than 2, but after 2 sessions, the bleeding stopped. Okay? But that's one story. That there are other patients that went there, and when they realized he was only going to give him, they was going to give him some of his stuff, but he was going to give him chemo, they left. Some, they stayed there, and even what it gives you makes you sick as a dog, just like every other chemotherapeutic agent that they give you. Same thing. But some people go there, realize, this is chemo. Okay, what does he want now?
Oh, boy. No, he just said you offended him when you said sick as a dog.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't want to offend him.
It's okay, dope.
But anyway.
Be good.
People have left because that's all he was offering. It was chemo. But a patient that went there, and of course they want to give her chemo, and she refuses. So they said, well, there is nothing we can do for you. But they were trying to sell her all these supplements, okay, all these natural supplements, because he also provides those. And she had become really friend with because he doesn't see everybody on everything. He had different people working for him that pushed this and that product. And she had become really friendly with the lady that was in charge of the supplements. And the lady told her that they have a monthly quota, how much they have to sell to patients. That's no longer helping people. That's just a business. Disgusting. Yeah, they have a monthly quota on how much of that nonsense they have to provide to patients. Okay? Well, this last patient I was talking to you about, she went through whatever he provides to the different patient, his things he developed. And then, of course, they have a meeting, and there was a meeting with him and all these other doctors that work with him. And this team decided that she needed to take Herceptin and Femara. Talking about that sentence. But anyway. That's what she needed to take. And they were suggesting Femara. Yeah, Femara is used a lot for, and other patient of mine had taken Femara. It's horrible. It has horrible side effects, like everything else. And then, of course, adds up to the additional side effects of Herceptin. So your heart is really in danger. Of course, if you die of heart failure, that's reported as a heart failure, not dying of cancer or cancer treatment. So it helps the statistics anyway. But so they said, all the doctors in the panel said that, but Burzynski was there and is the head, and he agreed with that type of treatment. And she, for some reason, was convinced, and she started using that junk. It took a major effort for me to talk her out of it. She said, you're killing yourself. What are you doing? Anyway, so the situation of Burzynski is he's either as a cover there, or these doctors are controlling him. Either way, he's a patsy of the establishment. Okay, we're going to continue this after the break.
Real alternative radio. We are OrionTalkRadio.com.
Okay, so we were discussing what the actual situation is for people that decide to go to see Burzynski, okay? If this patient was convinced to use, like every other, most of them anyway, to use a chemo that she didn't want in the first place. And he was convinced because there was a panel, of course, of experts, and you know that that's what they are. They're experts, led by Burzynski. So is it that he wants to appear, to be present there, to agree to it, but it's not really his decision, but his decision of the other, and he just agreeing to it, giving the impression that he's being controlled? Is he actually being controlled? It's just paying a lip service, but he's lying to the people by saying you need this. They know that in the very beginning. First of all, what he has, I'm not convinced that it works on anything, because what's the theory behind it? Not very scientific. He says that what it contains, the protein contained in what does the synthesis of, will kill the cancer, but it's really questionable how it kills the cancer. But he's still part of the system because he's pushing chemo. Just like all the alternative in Tijuana, they have this and that nonsense, but in the end, everything is chemo. Because if he was really convinced that what he has, it works, and he had something good, why does he stay in Texas? Texas is very unfriendly to alternative medicine. So why does he stay in a state that is always attacking alternative medicine? He's staying there, not even vaguely considering to move. And now, oh, the poor martyr. And it's so great. It's just a control position to make you believe and lure you into going to Burzynski. Why? Because in the end, you're going to be trapped into the chemo thing. You cannot escape chemo. He'll talk you into it. I don't know how he can convince these people. Some have not been convinced, but the majority have. And fear, I guess the big thing is the fear factor. And they agreed to chemo, even though they went there because they didn't want it. They went there because they didn't want a standard treatment. They didn't want to follow what their oncologist is offering. And then they go see him, spend all the money, and be convinced to do it. And then they go ahead and do what they didn't want in the first place. Gee, that requires some skills, in my opinion. I don't understand that. I don't understand any of it. But I know that's what's happening because when I was having problem with that stupid trial that had nonsense and nobody told me the truth about it, I had to find out on my own that it was illegal to start with. They had no jurisdiction over me, so the whole thing is a bunch of nonsense. All I had to do is totally ignore them, which I eventually did.
Well, they sure wasted a lot of time and effort, though, trying, didn't they?
I know. And they came up with a monkey trial and then see the verdict. Oh, yeah, she has to pay all this money, which there is no way they can collect. And they know that. But it's just...
and then they got your defense attorney.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was even before. It's payola all the time, yeah. But what I'm saying, though, is I talked when I was looking for an attorney that could actually help. One of my patients sent me the information. She found it in the book of Susan Summer about the physician, about the attorney that helped Burzynski, and obviously didn't help him. And I talked to him, and he was such a major jerk that you wouldn't believe. He's one of those that has a client, even when he's looking for a client, they insult you, they attack you, and they try to put you on the defensive. That doesn't do anything for me, and all it does is makes me answer and slam them across the wall with logic, and that's what I always do. That's why they hate me. He was going on and his rampage of nonsense, and that's what he did with Burzynski. And just convinced him, obviously, that he needed to, I'm pretty sure he really didn't defend, and he needed to agree to what the establishment was saying, which he could do what he was doing as long as he was also providing chemo. And the whole point is, no, nobody wants the chemo. They go to him because they don't want chemo. And that's what they've been trying to do to me. Oh, this is helpful, but you still have to use chemo. No, no, no. And just because the Barracuda agreed to that, well, that's his problem, not me. His problem is that all his interest is in money. And that's why people go for chemo, because all they want is the money. This is not an issue of money. This is an issue of healing and not doing no harm while you heal a person. Actually heal him. And it's just disgusting, but And actually, I don't know what kind of a person Burzynski really was, but what it is now is a patsy. It's just follow the system, gathering money and going along with anything. And whether it is the lawyer that convinced him to do that or whatever, I don't know. He was okay back then, and now it's been turned. I don't know. I don't know what the real story is, but right now it's a nonsense. It's a front, and they are using it to present him as an opposition, so people will believe that, go to see him, and then they're trapped into the system, and there it goes. Chemo and radiation and all the garbage that cancer patients are given. More and more garbage. And
that's just it, because I check ever since I started, calling into your show. I've gotten interested in this, and nothing that I have read anywhere even remotely suggests that Burzynski is doing anything by the way of the standard and the mainstream. So to hear you say that, and then that has come out of the mouths of ex-patients who have come to you after going to him. See, the whole thing is just so mind-blowing.
I know it is, and I would not have known. How could I know? I could not know. It was the patients that told me this is what happens. I had a patient that wanted to come for treatment, but her sister convinced her, no, you don't want to go there. They don't have any real name, and it goes to Burzynski, which cost a lot more. And she went there, but sure enough, she left within a few days because that's all they wanted to do, chemo. And at least she was alert enough to realize, hey, this is not what I want. This is not what I came here for. But they must be really skilled in convincing people, because a lot stay there and get what they could have gotten at their own. Oh, but we had this other compound we couldn't have gotten at home, covered by our insurance. And we could not get that there. Well, did it do any good to you? No. So it's just a farce. And when I was talking to the attorney, obviously not a good attorney, that defended Burzynski, he was attacking. You've seen my website, you've seen the story and why they were attacking me, and he started insulting me from left to right. That was just absolute nonsense. I had no idea what I was talking about. When it came to the legal rights, he didn't discuss my legal rights, and when I was trying to explain to him, he said that I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't know anything. Who you think you are? You think you are an attorney? No, I can think and read. That's who I am. But anyway, and he went on and on. So I really got fed up with that, and I said, okay, you live in Houston. What's the color of your car? And he got really thrown off. What? What does that got to do? What is the color of your car? And he was just confused. And I said, do you have a black car? He said, no. Why not? And he said, well, that has something to do with the heat. Aha! There you go. And that's what we do. We turn the cancer into black cells, just like black cars. The healthy cells are white cars, and the cancer is like a black cars, and the heat gets it. Same thing. You know it because you don't. Yeah, right. And you know it because you don't have a black car. Oh man, I blew him out of the sky, and he did not like that. But that's it. It's logic. That's what's happened. That's why when people attack us, I said, hey, use your brain. If you think it's a quacker, it's because you either dishonest or you really are incapable of using your brain. That's what it is. So you have, in most cases, because they have ulterior motives. The people that have cancer, they can't think straight is because doctors have made them so scared that they are just terrified. They don't know what to think, which to me is another crime. It's criminal by part of the establishment to scare people to that point that become irrational. They don't know what to think, so they will agree to anything that the oncologists give them. Or if they go to Burzynski because they think he's a hero, that he's being tormented, and they end up the same way. I cannot believe. Yeah.
Cancer is systemic disease, though.
Yeah, right.
That does not compute.
Yeah, cancer is systemic. Sure. Well, as I said before, if cancer were systemic, how can you explain that you only have one tumor? Before, of course, the establishment gets to it, poke, cuts it and do all sorts of things, and then it starts moving away from it through the lymph nodes, and then it goes somewhere else, or with surgery with the bleeding. But otherwise, it stays put in that place. It stays put, doesn't go anywhere, and that's why when it's still in place, there is nothing else happening. So it's not systemic. It's just a question that has been introduced by really pathetically failing to handle cancer. That's what it is. A total failure. The standard treatment of cancer are a total failure, and they cause the spreading of cancer. They are causing the spread of cancer. Of course, they are attacking me and say that is completely ridiculous, and it's not what the facts indicate. Actually, that's exactly what the facts indicate. Otherwise, how could you prove that? How could you justify that the patient that come to us have the cancer killed in place, and that's it? It doesn't go anywhere else, and they're fine. That's why, we are coming to the end of the show. That's why they're trying to cover up by saying, oh, no, you have everywhere, and you have to have the wrong testing so we can support our stand.
Thank you for listening to The Medical Conspiracy
We're done.
with Dr. Carpenter.
All of you next Saturday.
That was pretty quick.
I know. Today went poof.
Hey, have a good week here.